You are listening to the temple flame. Let not the flame die out, cherished age after age in its dark cavern, in its holy temples cherished, fed by pure ministers of love. Let not the flame die out. Good morning. This is Ralph with the Temple Flame podcast here on Hermetic Temple Radio. And here we talk about non-sectarian spirituality, spiritual thought, things that will hopefully help a lot of different people just understand things a little clearer and become more self-empowered. That's what we're all about here. So today we're going to be talking about keeping a balance. And as human beings, we tend to fall out of balance many times. We tend to have tunnel vision, especially in times of stress, especially in times when we're scared, having difficulties, facing uncertainties in life. And in order to be healthy human beings, in order to be able to function at our top peak performance, we have to keep everything in balance. We're not just one-dimensional beings. We are multi-dimensional beings. A lot of people will only see one side of themselves. But we have many different sides to ourselves, many different sides to our personality, different sides of our basic human nature, and we all share these different attributes, really. We all have these different sides of our human nature, and rarely do we ever see everything, in its totality, in its wholeness. We just tend to focus on one thing, like if we're short on money, then, my God, everything has to do with money and finance. If, we have enough money, but, we're getting lonely, then okay, everything has to be about love and relationships. We tend to get blindsided because we do tend to just have tunnel vision. And in order to live a healthy life, we have to keep a healthy balance. Now, there are two different occulted tools, or exoteric schools of thought, two different tools that we can use to help us maintain a healthy balance in life. And we're going to talk about those two in this podcast today. One is one system is something that people tend to think of as being very occult. And yes, it is. Occult literally means hidden. And a lot of people have other associations that they throw out with that word too. But one is the tarot. And the tarot deck is structured in such a way that it can be used to help human beings maintain a healthy balance in their lives. There are essentially five suits of the tarot. It's a card deck that's broken up into the major arcana, which can be thought of as being a suit in itself, and then the minor arcana that consists of four suits: uh, wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And with the tarot, if you read tarot, if you use tarot on a daily basis, you're doing readings for yourself, you're throwing out, or just dealing out three cards at random and meditating on those cards, the tarot can serve as a reminder that there are at least five different elements to your life, and you have to keep a balance among those elements. And some days you may have to focus on one element more than others, and the next day shift your focus a little bit, a little bit differently. But yeah, there are the five different elements within the tarot deck. And we're going to break that down right now. Now, starting with the major arcana. The major arcana can be seen as its own suit, and that is the suit that deals with spirituality, higher spiritual matters. It is a suit that reminds you, hey, there is a power greater than yourself. And for those who are initiated, they know that that power that is greater than themselves can also be seen within themselves. It's one of the mysteries that the divine, the source of all being, the source of the universe, is something that exists both within you and without you. And we can make contact with that higher power through meditation, observing quiet moments, observing the signs of nature, observing the people around us, and just practicing deep listening. We can have a communication with that power greater than ourselves, and it is both within us and outside of us. And the major arcana of the tarot is the suit that says, hey, are you focusing on these higher spiritual principles? Are you in contact with your higher power, the source of all being? And that is the suit that reminds us to take spiritual matters seriously, especially when we're in times of difficulty. Now, the next suit in the minor arcana that we'll cover is the suit of wands. And that is the suit that deals with creativity, passion, making things and being passionate about things, creating things. It's like the suit of the craftsman, the worker, the average person, and it's a reminder that we have a creative side to our nature too. There is something that we can be passionate about besides the usual things. It can serve as a reminder: are you tapped in to that creative aspect to your life? It can also be seen as a life-giving aspect of life, the nurturing aspect of life. So when we start seeing the suit of wands coming up, when we're either reading tarot or meditating on the tarot, can be a reminder, hey, is there something creative that I've been putting off? Is there something that I'm passionate about that I've put on the back burner for maybe too long and I need to get back to it? And that's how we can be using the suit of wands in the tarot to use it as a reminder to keep ourselves more in balance. Now, the next suit is the suit of cups, and that is the suit of love, the emotions, the watery side of life. And that can serve as a reminder that, how are your personal relationships going? Is there somebody in your life that you've been neglecting? Have you told your spouse that you love them? Have you spent time with the kids? Have you shown enough attention to the dogs, the cats, the pets, what the significant people in your life, even if those significant people don't necessarily have to be people. And just a reminder that, hey, there is the loving side of life, the nurturing side of life. And when you remember to deal with other people, not just as tools, not just as cogs in the wheel, like we can be looking at people as a way to a means. When you go to work and you're working for somebody else on a job, it's like you think of your boss, as the guy that gives you the paycheck, and your coworkers as the people that either help to keep the workplace running smoothly so everybody gets paid, or as the cogs in the wheel that misbehave and just throw wrenches around and keep things from running smoothly. But when we recognize that we're all human beings, we have human needs, we have emotions, and you need to be recognizing that and showing the proper respect for, not only, how people work, how people, but how people feel. And are you communicating with people on a level that respects, that side of their life and nurtures that side of their life? So, yeah, the Suit of Cups can be a reminder to, pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to other people's emotions, pay attention to the love and relationships that are out there in life. The next suit is the suit of swords, and swords is a suit that is associated with the element air and the power of thought, the power of the mind, the life of the mind. It is a suit that can also stand for stress and difficulty, facing down difficulties. But it's also a reminder that we have to think our way through some of the difficulties in life that we encounter. We can't just be emoting all the time. We can't be just so in touch with our emotions that we don't think, that we don't use our heads. Yeah, we have to keep a balance. So, and part of that balance is having the intelligence to be able to see things that are right in front of us, be able to study what is going on, why things are happening the way they are. Am I playing a part in the stuff that's going on around me? And if I don't like the stuff that's going around me, how can I start playing my part differently so that things around me begin to change? And that requires thought, requires study, requires some planning, requires using the mind, using our heads. And that's the reminder that we see in the Suit of Swords. Uh, am I using my head today? And the Suit of Swords is also associated with combat, but there are many different ways of doing combat. There are many different ways of defending yourself. The art of war, an old Chinese text, says that to win without fighting is best. And the martial arts artist Bruce Lee illustrated this in some of his movies, that he had a system of fighting that he called fighting without fighting. And some of his movies, he demonstrated that. But there is a way to face down your difficulties. There is a way of fighting your battles by using your mind and just proper planning, proper strategy, using your head and just outwitting your opponent, or using your wits to just help the people around you live a better life, and yourself to live a better life, living by your wits, as it were. And then the final suit in the minor arcana is the suit of pentacles. And the suit of pentacles represents earthly riches, material wealth. And that is a big area of our lives that a lot of people tend to focus on. And the suit of pentacles can be a reminder that, okay, have you planned things out well? Are you in touch with your emotions? Are you paying attention to your creative side? But are you also doing what's necessary to earn a living? Sometimes, some people are all work and no play. They're all about getting those pentacles and they neglect, playtime, recreation. Other people are all about, all play and no work. They're all about rest, recreation, and meditating and all that, but they're not very good about doing something productive and something that's going to actually help feed themselves, take care of themselves, take care of the family. And again, we have to keep that balance. And the Suit of Pentacles can be a reminder that, okay, you're a great mystic, you're studying the tarot, you're paying attention to, the more ethereal matters in the universe, but are you also taking care of your physical needs? Are you also taking care of the material needs of your household? Are you letting things slide, or are you actually being productive and bringing in the pentacles that are necessary to keep life going, to keep everybody in your household cared for? So within the tarot, we have those 5 different elements that represent 5 different aspects of our earthly life. The major arcana, the element of spirit. We are spiritual beings. We tend to lose sight of that a lot of times. We tend to be so materially minded that we're no spiritual good. And other people are just the reverse. They tend to be so spiritually minded that they're no material good. But the major arcana, reminder to pay attention to our spiritual side. Wands, our creative side, pay attention to that. Cups, pay attention to your love life, emotions. Swords, pay attention to study, the life of the mind. We need that too. And then finally, Pentacles. We need to be paying attention to our finances and the material things in life. And so by using the tarot, we can help ourselves maintain a balance by, daily meditation using the tarot. I like to use it early in the morning and just deal out a few cards, meditate on them, see what the cards seem to be telling me, and then go about my day. But you can use the tarot in a variety of ways. But what if you're not a tarot reader? What if you're not into that system? What if you have no desire to get into that system? Is there another way of keeping a balance? And actually, well, there are several, but there is one method of keeping a balance that has been encoded into the days of the week, kind of hidden in plain sight, as they say. And this is a way that you can just look at your calendar and become more aware about the rhythm, the ebb and flow of life, and the need for keeping a balance in your daily life. And I'm going to get into that right after this next song. We're going to play a short clip and then get on with the second part of today's presentation.
Like a summer's day, you questioned life and lost your faith. You needed to believe in something that your eyes had never seen. And now you found that you can't find the answers to the questions that you had in mind. It's like a dial tone, no one's on the line, and now you're feeling so alone. Universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? Trust your heart, it knows the way. In your yourself, you need some faith. Don't listen to the crowd. No one's got this whole thing figured out. Listen to the voice inside, the inner self you long denied. The day that you were born, you were given everything you need to carry on. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? How many bright suns shine above the lucky ones who wonder, how far have we come, and will we go before we're done? Yeah, the hardest thing it seems to me is letting go of all beliefs. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery?
And we are back with a little deeper explanation into part of the mystery of helping to maintain a healthy balance. And there's a second tool that we're going to talk about that we can use to help us keep a balance, to help us be more mindful and aware of the balance that we need to be keeping in our daily lives. And there is an occult system of thought that has been encoded over the centuries. I'm not exactly sure who thought this up, who put this into place, if it just fell into place naturally, or if there's some secret society out there that has carefully encoded this. But, there is a system of thought that has been encoded into the days of the week and the astrological significance of those days. The days Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday, they're more than just names. Each day of the week has a certain planet or the sun and the moon associated with it. And there is a deeper meaning that we can see in these astrological and planetary attributions. Now, in the classical school of thought, back in the ancient days, they thought of, the stars, I mean, not all the stars, but, what we call planets as being planets. They also thought of the moon as being a planet and the sun as being a planet. Now, today in the 21st century, we think we're a lot more sophisticated than that, and we call, we got planets that we call planets, we got minor planets, we got the moon, we got other moons out there that we've found, and we've got the sun. And we know that the stars in the sky are other suns with their own planets and moons and what have you. But in the classical reference of things, these things were what we call planets, and the moon and the sun were also called planets, and they had the days of the week associated with these different planets, and these planets were seen as representing different gods and having different powers, and these powers were things that the ancients focused on to help them maintain a balance within their day-to-day lives. So let's get into kind of decoding the different days of the week, their planetary attributions, and what that might mean to us today. And as I go through this, I think you'll begin to see that we have been following a certain rhythm for centuries that very few people have properly understood. I think very few people fully understand, but what we're going to do is just scratch the surface of things in this presentation. But yeah, whoever set this system up, I mean, it has really kept the human race in a certain rhythm for many centuries, at least here in the West. And the first day of the week we're going to cover is Sunday, and that is the day of the sun, Sunday, the day of the sun, the day of the invincible, all-conquering sun. In ancient times, when you were planting your crops, you had to be mindful that, you were doing it at the right time of the year. Are you doing it in the spring? Are you doing it in the summer? Is there going to be enough sunlight to provide warmth, to provide energy, to provide nurturing? And when the sun began to die, as it were, in the fall, and especially in the winter, life became a lot harder. You couldn't grow crops in the winter. You had to go out hunting for food. If you didn't have food stockpiled, then yeah, the winter time would be a time of want, need, and hunger. And the sun was seen as being very important. It was the dominant thing in the sky, the dominant force of nature that was out there. And Sunday was the day to honor the sun and focus on spirituality, focus on the higher things in life, focus on the higher power of your understanding as you understand that higher power. Sunday can be seen, and traditionally has been seen throughout the centuries, as a day of spirituality, day to focus on prayer, meditation, not a work day. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, you caught a lot of flack if you had to work on a Sunday. Even mowing your lawn was seen as, not something you should do. But yeah, traditionally, Sunday has been the day, the Lord's Day, day of the invincible sun, to focus on your spiritual side, focus on spirituality, going to church, spending time with your family, and honoring the divine of your understanding. So, and of course, Sunday is the last day of the weekend, and that brings us into Monday, where people on, the first day of the work week, they have a case of the Mondays, and Monday, of course, is Moon Day. In the Spanish name for Monday, lunes, lunar, lunes, it has that lunar attribute, just jumps right out at you. It's the day of the moon. And the moon can be seen as, if you've been spending a lot of time out in the bright sun, and then you go out at night without letting your eyes adjust, all you have is the light of the moon to guide you. You have a little bit of light to see by, but not much. Not as much as with the full light of the sun. And so the moon can represent mysterious paths, mysterious ways, trying to find your way through life, trying to get your footing for the day and getting your footing for the week. And that's the feeling that I get with Monday, and have gotten with Monday traditionally when I was out there in the work world working for somebody else and having other people working under me and over me. And it was like people would be coming in hung over from the weekend, not at their best, grouchy, grumpy, not seeing things very clearly. And most of the day was spent, trying to get everybody's head straight, trying to get started, find our footing, and start the business week off as best we could. It was a time of starting over, and that's the feeling that I get with the moon, in the moon card in tarot. It is kind of seen as sometimes as being mysterious paths, finding your way in the dark, trying to get your footing and hoping to get some clarity so that you can get moving at a faster pace later on. But yeah, the moon day, kind of a day to just find your footing and get things started all over again. Then that brings us into Tuesday. And Tuesday is a day that is associated with Mars. In Spanish, the name is Martes. So again, we see that planetary attribution more clearly in the Spanish than we do in the English. But Tuesday is the day of Mars. And Mars, of course, the god of war, pushing forward, aggressive action, not just stumbling around in the dark and just trying to find your footing. No, you've done that already on Monday. Now on Tuesday, it's the time you've got your footing, hopefully. You've got your head cleared. You've got your plan of attack. You've planned some strategy, and you're ready to advance. Take the troops forward. Go forth and conquer. That's the day of Mars, Tuesday, Martes, day to push forward and advance. Now that leads us into Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, what aspect of our life do we see? Well, Wednesday, Woden's Day, also known as Odin's Day. In Spanish, Miércoles, the day of Mercury, god of wisdom. Odin, also a god of wisdom, among other things. But on Wednesday, great time to focus on planning, study, getting your strategy. You've gotten through one part of the week. Now you're in the middle of the week. Time to sit down, plan, see where you're going to go to from that point on. Also a day of action. Odin in Nordic thought was Nordic mythology was the god of wisdom, also the god of war, also the god of healing. He was a very multifaceted being. But so Wednesday is not all about just sitting down, planning, and study. And we see this in church life, or at least I saw that in church life when I was a church pastor for 6 years. We had our main worship service that was on Sunday, the day of the sun, and then we had sort of a minor service on Wednesday. It was our Wednesday night Bible study. And we had a lot of old timers, people in their 70s and 80s that would come to that Bible study. And of course, I was the young guy in the church, the youngest member of the church. I was in my 40s at that time. And the old timers would be talking about stories, how when they were growing up, it was so neat. They had church on Sunday, and then they had Wednesday Bible study, and how great it was seeing that old tradition being carried on in our church. And we began to kind of talk amongst ourselves and see if anybody knew where that tradition originated from. And this was before I got into really occult studies of much of any kind, and I didn't really pay attention to the planetary significance of the different days of the week. But yeah, I think we can see that in these weekdays. That Sunday is a day focused on going to church, spirituality, deeper spirituality, a major holy day. And then Wednesday, it's a work day, but it's also more of a minor holy day, a day of the mind, as well as a day of the spirit, to study, to plan, to focus. Make sure you've got your strategy ready for the middle of the week, and then carry on into the rest of the week with a strategy, with a plan. Day for Wednesday night Bible study, and for folks that aren't religious, that don't go to church, that aren't into that sort of thing, Wednesday is seen as hump day. And it's a lighter day, a day when people will start thinking, hey, the weekend's almost here. What are my plans for the weekend? Hey, what are you going to do for Friday night? What are you going to do for Saturday? And again, even on a secular level, it can be seen as a day of looking forward, not just the rest of the work week, but looking forward into the weekend to, what are your plans? How are you going to enjoy yourself? What are you going to do? So, yeah, hump day, Wednesday, Odin's Day, Woden's Day, Miraculous, Day of Mercury. Be thinking about tomorrow, be thinking about what's coming up with the rest of the week, and seeing light at the end of the tunnel because the weekend is coming. 2 more days to the weekend. And then, of course, that leads us into Thursday. And that is, Thor's Day. It's the day of the week that's associated with Jupiter. And again, we can begin to see this rhythm, this ebb and flow going in the days of the week. Monday was a day to find your footing. Tuesday, day to advance, day to attack, day to, conquer the day, seize the day. And then Wednesday, still a work day, you're still moving ahead, but also a day of planning. And then Thursday, Jupiter, the god of expansion and success by Jove. And yeah, it's a day to focus on, okay, we made our plans, we've got our focus. Now it's time to really wrap things up and push ahead, move ahead. In business, people start thinking, have we made our quota? Are we on track? Is there something that we've fallen behind in? Do we really need to give it an extra push in one area or another in order to wrap this week up successfully and then be able to go into Friday happy and content and just ready for the weekend? So yeah, Thursday we got that ebb and flow, planning, action, planning, action. And then that leads us into Friday, Viernes in Spanish, and that is the day of the week that is associated with Venus. Venus, the goddess of love, the goddess of beauty. Venus is also known as the morning star, and as the morning star, it's associated with the light bringer, the bringer of enlightenment. So on Friday, thank God it's Friday. People can start focusing on something more than just work and worry and strategy. It's the end of the week, time to enjoy yourself, time to kick back and begin enjoying the fruits of your labor, and time to really focus on romance, family life, the emotions, and then also time of the week to acknowledge that there's more to life than just work and worry. And by Jove, not by Jove, but by Venus, can't think of anything cute to say to that, but by Venus, we're going to just enjoy ourselves Friday night and have a nice weekend and put the work week behind us for a couple of days. And then, of course, that brings us into Saturday. And Saturday, also known as Saturn Day, it's a day that we focus on restriction. In the Judeo-Christian traditions, this is the day of the thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not work, thou shalt, if you're in the Jewish tradition, focus on that's a major holy day. Focus on prayer, focus on going to synagogue, focus on meditation. If you're not a member of the Jewish tradition, then it's a time for recreation in the secular world. Time to kick back, go rock climbing, go dancing, enjoy yourself. Don't worry about work. You'll have time to work later on. This is a day that we're restricted from doing work, and instead we just focus on enjoying ourselves or prayer or meditation, but just recognizing the other side of our life that we tend to overlook Monday through Friday. And so there you have it. The days of the week, decoded to a certain extent. But I think you can see the pattern that we tend to fall into, even if you just see the days of the week not from a religious or spiritual standpoint, but from a secular standpoint that, Saturday, Sunday tend to be days that we don't do business. Nobody seems to know why, but, it's because, folks tend to take those days off and we don't necessarily focus on our business. So it's a good day to focus on family, spirituality, having fun, recreation, recreating ourselves. And then Monday through Thursday and part of Friday can be seen as days of the week that we associate with work. And a lot of people, when they're marketing, when they're working their home-based businesses, and even if you got something like government work that needs to be done, they generally try to avoid doing something on Monday because that's the day of the moon. We know that people are not at their best on that day, and just intuitively, instinctively, we know, okay, we're not going to deal with too many important matters on Monday unless we absolutely have to, because it's not really a good day with, to find people that have clear heads. A lot of people are still hungover from the weekend. So some of the more important matters we reserve for Tuesday. And then Wednesday, day of hump day, a day of planning, study, pushing ahead later. And then Thursday, just really giving it all we got. So just sets up a little cycle that a lot of people, especially in Western culture, have followed more or less unawares. But I mean, it's encoded right there in the planetary attributions of the days of the week. Hope you found this presentation enjoyable and helpful. This is all we're going to do for today's installment. We'll see you again next Sunday. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be talking about, but if you want to get a hold of me, we've got a new website up. You can find us online at www.hermetictempleradio.com. And I'm going to put a contact button there on that website. And if you have any feedback you'd like to send us, just use that contact button that we'll have up by Moon Day. It's not up there yet, but it will be up there by Moon Day. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear any of your questions that you would like us to cover in future podcasts. So until later, this is Ralph signing out, wishing you a blessed Sunday, day of the invincible sun. Recharge, recoup, recharge your spiritual batteries, and get ready for the day of the moon tomorrow. This is Ralph signing out.